The Finance Club of the Lagos Business School, Pan-Atlantic University, Lagos, organized its Finance Conference for the year 2014, with the focus, the resilience of the finance industry in Nigeria in the midst of a global changing circumstance. The conference brought experts, analysts, technocrats, policymakers to look at the resilience of the Nigerian industry and how it has thrived over the years, and what needs to be done to make it sustainable and become a much stronger and viable economy. The Dean of the Lagos Business School, Dr. Enase Konedo, welcomed everyone to the conference and commended the Finance Club for hosting a conference that has wider impact on society.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome all of us to the Finance Conference of 2014. They could have chosen as a theme for this something like how to become an astute finance professional, which will benefit only them. But then they have chosen something that is of interest to the wider society, and hopefully will spur discussions that can lead to perhaps changes, who knows, maybe policy changes, or perhaps deeper engagement at the not only the private sector but the government levels as to what it is that we have to do to make the Nigerian financial system more resilient. So I'd like to commend and thank the Finance Club of the Lagos Business School.
In his opening address, giving an insight into resilience of the finance industry in Nigeria, giving a comprehensive analysis in the globe, Mr. Bismarck Irwani, a cerebral economist and CEO of Financial Derivatives, gave insight to what resilience is all about, cases of resilient nations in economy, and what Nigeria needs to do to become more effective, resilient, and sustainable going ahead.
The topic today is the resilience of the Nigerian financial services industry in the face of global economic changes. I want to start off by asking a few questions. What is resilience? I tried to look around and see exactly what it meant. The most common definition is the ability to withstand shock and the ability to survive an aggression, external aggression. And I said, okay. But it also is a bi-dimensional definition in the sense that it has its aggressive definition and it has its defensive definition. In the sense that the ability to withstand shock is one side of the equation, but the ability to actually move faster and grow is also a form of resilience. So the question is, why is it useful to be resilient as a country or individual or a group? We'll answer that question as well. Who are the most resilient people in the world? Countries, groups? When I looked around, I thought that the Japanese were one of the most resilient people in the world. Why do we say this? The Japanese, in terms of determination to do what they want to do and stay focused and steady course, have shown over the years in history, the Second World War, the nuclear reaction, the ability to come from zero or negative quadrant all the way to becoming the leaders, and the ability not to lose their identity, their culture, whilst moving along with the rest of the world.
To further give insight on the resilience of the Nigerian finance industry, there was a panel session with Mr. Kayode Akingube, MD, FVN Capital, Mr. Kolawole Wodina, who represented the Director General of Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, as well as the Deputy Managing Director of Diamond Bank, Mr. Uzoma Dozie. They all took time to discuss about the issues concerning Nigeria's resilience in the financial industry and the issues that need to be looked at to ensure that Nigeria, no matter the case in the global economy, is insulated from any crisis and is seen sustainable dealing with the real issues in the economy.
Nigeria still is slightly insulated in some ways. The reality is that the crises that took place globally 2008 and apparently sort of found its way to the financial crisis we had in Nigeria. The reality is that the financial crisis we had in Nigeria was homegrown. Whether or not there was a global financial crisis, we still would have had problems with some of the banking institutions that we had issues with in 2009, 2010.
But I think what is key and what is critical, I think which has been touched upon by people here, is government's role in not providing even financial assistance, in creating that enabled environment and coming up with consistent policies. And what we find sometimes is that because the government is so large and you have different arms of government that are coming up with policies, most of them are actually inconsistent with what they're trying to achieve.
At the end of the summit, we will discuss with key experts to share the views on the summit and what it brings for Nigeria. Looking at today's summit, which talked about financial resilience in the face of a changing global circumstance, you talked about the issue of the banks need to be encouraged to be engaged in real sector and infrastructure. Now we're going to have a CBN governorship coming in by June. What should be the focus of the next CBN governor in helping the banking sector?
Well, I think so far, the policy that CBN has put in place in the last 4 years have been consistent in trying to stimulate the productive space. So what I expect and what I believe the new CBN governor will be doing will either fine-tuning those policies or ensuring implementation. I don't expect us to see any drastic changes in policies going forward.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. I think it was a great conference on many fronts. Firstly, because it was student organized, and it's very heartening to see these young folks put this together, pull captains of industry together, talk sense, organize us all, keep us moving. So just from the point of view of who was pulling the strings, it was really very refreshing for me. On the other hand, it was also heartening to see that there's some thoughts still going on in this country in the midst of our chaos. I was very happy to hear the very good thoughts from the Sovereign Investment Authority guy. Definitely they have their constraints. I think frankly the money they have so far is too small. They need our support to put pressure on our leaders to really fund that thing as it should be funded. So it's a season when everybody's talking about economy. Not everybody really understands the meaning of the base GDP, but I think Nigeria is more obviously on the global stage. We've been on the global stage all along. The economy size has not changed. We've just captured it more accurately. So I think in all, timely event, good time to be talking about these things, talking about them with depth, developing tomorrow's leaders. So on both fronts and all those fronts, I think I was very, very happy to be here.
The work of the Finance Club is remarkable, hosting a conference like this. And with more initiatives from various groups, even across faculties in the country, we see a future where innovation, thought process, articulate conferences will provoke development in our economy.